Hi, I'm Steve, and today I'd like to talk about DAWs. DAW is a digital audio workstation. If you don't have a DAW yet, great. I'll go through the three most popular, which would be Adobe Audition, Reaper, and Audacity. Those tend to be the ones most narrators use. So we'll kind of take a look at each one of those DAWs today. Now, which one is best? Well, uh, I have to tell you, I use Adobe Audition. Now, I use Adobe Audition for two reasons. One, it's the fastest. I find it to be the fastest for me to edit my audiobooks and files with and get my book out the door the quickest. It gives me the fastest workflow, and that's me. That's my workflow. Um, Two, because Adobe Audition has a pretty steep fee. It's like $35 a month to use Adobe Audition. But my wife, who's a writer, uses a lot of the Adobe products. So we have the entire Adobe package, and Audacity comes in that package. So I thought I'll dig it out, give it a try, and I love it. So I decided to start using it. Now I have used all three. I have used Reaver and I have used Audacity. I love all three of them. They're great DAWs. So I would say pick one that gives you the best workflow, that you're comfortable with, that you find it easy to use and quick to use and manipulate. The DAW is just a tool. It just records your voice. I can get the same mastered file out of all three, and I'll demonstrate that in the end. So it's just a matter of what you're most comfortable with. All three of them are excellent DAWs. Just pick one, stick with it. Don't be like me and go down the rabbit hole and be bouncing around and comparing them. I've already proven to myself anyway that I can get the same results from all three DAWs. So it doesn't matter which one I record with. I can get the same mastered file out of all three. So having said that, why don't we jump in and take a look at each one of these DAWs? So we'll start with Adobe Audition. So here is Adobe Audition. I have loaded here a little snippet of a book I'm working on, and I've already loaded it, and actually I have loaded this into all three DAWs. But here's a little snippet of a book I'm working on.
You know, only one whack out of four makes it all the way through, ma'am. The sergeant paused, his eyes staring at her orders.
Now this is the raw file. It is not a mastered file, but anyway, it's loaded in here. Now Adobe Audition, it lets you zoom through the file by scrolling your mouse wheel. And I've already cleaned up most of it, but well, you see here's a little breath. I do leave some breaths in. I have found in recent narration that a lot of the authors like some breaths left in the audiobook. I know that's quite a contentious argument in the narration world today, but I have found that most authors like that. So I leave some breaths in, but I do kind of tailor that. That's your personal preference, how you like to do it. Anyway, if I were to want to take that out, and since this is a test file, I could just go in here, I could highlight that, and I have a macro set up for heal, but the tool is called auto heal, and I just hit heal, and boom, there,
He said, I'll let you stay in a lucky room.
it's taken care of. You also have the spectrum view down here showing you the frequency of your file. It's also zoomable, and you can see it's easy once you get used to reading the spectrum. It's easy to see pops and clicks and things like that. If you see a click or a pop or something you don't like, it has a brush tool. And you can put it in brush tool and you can brush over your content and boom, it heals it. So it's a very fast and efficient DAW. I believe a lot of professional companies use this. I believe Disney uses this, uses Adobe Audition. Um, but like I said, it comes with a fee. Um, it's a very professional looking and easy to handle DAW, and I like using it. But yeah, I wouldn't call it the best DAW. It's just a really good tool. Reaper and Audacity work very well also. And if you don't want the $35 monthly fee, well, one of the other two would be your choice. But I'll show you just some of the other features of Adobe Audition. So we have the spectrum. We have the waveform editing. Down here in the record button, you can choose whether you want to overwrite or insert. You can do punch and roll, all kinds of options. So right now I usually leave it set to insert. So if I were to have made a mistake in this, I could simply go to where I thought I made a mistake and put my record head there, go into record mode, make my correction right there. There's my correction for that part. Stop that and
said Ashton.
record mode, make my correction right there. There's my correction for that. And then I could simply delete the part that was the mistake. That's the way I do my editing, my edit flow. I'm sure a lot of you use punch and roll or whatever method you use. I personally don't like punch and roll. I like to do it this way, but I know a lot of people like to use the punch and roll feature, and it does have that. You can do the punch and roll feature. Okay, also, one of the really nice features of Audition is that it has these effects racks. So I can go up here. I have made a couple of effects racks. I have this one called First Pass. And what I have in First Pass is I put a denoiser in.
Only one whack out of four makes it all the way
Kind of
through,
takes care
ma'am.
of my background
The sergeant
noise.
paused, his eyes staring.
And I have a parametric equalizer, which I have set up to take care of the low frequencies and the high frequencies. I leave the rest of it alone in this particular stage. I want a flat line. I just want to get rid of low end frequencies and really high end frequencies. That also helps eliminate some noise. So I bring that one up when I'm recording, and then I apply it when I'm done, and it's good. And then I have a second one called second pass. And it might take a second for it to come up here. And there it goes, and boom, there's the second pass. So now I have a second pass coming through, and
Only one whack out of four makes it all the way through, ma'am. The sergeant paused, his eyes staring.
so what I have in it is I have my I run another denoiser through just to be sure I've gotten nice clean audio. I have a declicker, it takes out any clicks in my voice, a de-esser to get rid of the s, and I have my, this is a compressor and equalizer combination that I use. Most of these plugins are free, by the way, except for the RX11 series. And I bought the utility kit, which at the time I bought it was about $90. Very nice tools to use if you want to make an investment. That would be an investment to make, is to get the RX tools. I believe it's at RX12 now, but Anyway, they're excellent tools. Comes with they have a lot of tools you can use in it. This is my mastering file, and this is the little utility I use, TV Barricade. What it does is, that's Tone Boosters, by the way, Tone Boosters Barricade, a free utility. What it does is it boosts my signal to
I've
the
qualified you,
ACX
Jim.
level.
No reason to think otherwise, said Ashton. Only one whack out of 4 makes.
I use that to master my files. And the U-Lean loudness meter, also a free tool. It shows me where my level is
It
so
all the
that
way
I
through,
know that
ma'am.
I'm at
The sergeant paused,
ACX
his
level
eyes
when I'm
staring at her
mastering my
orders.
file.
I'm that one, Ashton replied. Tell you what, ma'am, the sergeant said. I'll
Which,
let you
as you can
stay
see
for
right
a
here, oh
little
yeah, there we
longer.
go. I would be
Ashton
pretty
ignored the
close. I
sergeant's
could make
comments,
it a little
as if
higher at
his
this point, but right
conversation
now I'm
was
pretty
with
close
someone
to that.
else
Would
in the
pass
office.
ACX. I just like it
The
to be a little
NCO
hotter
completed the
myself.
paperwork before
But
bellowing out a
anyway,
list of instructions for Ashton to follow
that
during her
is
3-week
Adobe
assignment.
Audition.
A cold
Next, we'll
wind
take a look
howled up
at
through the dimly
Audacity.
lit outside stairwell as Ashton.
Okay, this is Audacity. Audacity is a great little editor too. Now, I have the same file here loaded in Audacity.
Only a few clerks sat at the rows and rows of desks in the office since it was New Year's Eve.
Audacity lets you zoom too, like Audition did, except you have to hold the control key down, scroll your wheel mouse, and you can zoom in and out of the waveform. You can edit like same thing. If I wanted to change my spacing between my words or sentences or whatever I need to, I could go in here and highlight that, hit D for delete. I could also come up here and split the file, and I can now move these around. It's great. It's really quick and easy to use. I like it a lot. I have a couple of macros made that takes the place of Audition's healing tool. It's called cut, copy, and paste. In a later video, I'll show some of these utilities I have, and they're all free plugins and utilities you can get. But what I would do is, like, say I had some noise, say right there, and I wanted to get rid of that. I would simply copy a section. We'll do a copy. Once you have copied a blank section of quiet space, then you don't have to copy again. As long as you keep this particular file open, you can always use that. And I would go here and paste that. This is different from the regular copy and paste function, as a normal copy and paste would actually insert that into the video. This overwrites it, so it's great for editing. Now, this Audacity you see here is a template I have made for my books when I make a book. So I have the main track where I record my raw audio. Then I have an editing track. So unlike Audition, I can't just insert the file here. You cannot insert audio in Audacity. So the workaround I use myself is, if I've made a mistake or I notice I didn't add a word or
I've
mispronounced
qualified you.
something or whatever, I will come down here. I will stop it where I've made a mistake. I will come down here, throw this into solo mode. Now I'll record my correction for whatever audio I have. There's my correction. Say this is the section that I didn't like. I would come up here and highlight that. If I do a split, I can highlight that. I'll delete that clip. And I will move this until I have it all lined up. Take that out of solo.
Ma'am,
Now I'll record my correction for whatever audio I have.
said Ashton. You know, only one whack out of four makes it all the way through.
And there I have my correction. So it's I can move pretty quickly in Audacity, and I have made my made my macros and editing, and I can go pretty quickly. So it's a great tool to use. Now, uh, I showed you the effects rack in Audition. You can do the same thing in Audacity. It does have the capability to have real-time effects. The thing is, when you build a rack in Audition, the rack stays. When you build it in Audacity, you have to save that Audacity file as a template or something to be able to keep your effects. Otherwise, you'll have to build it for each new file you open. So I make a template, and then all my effects are already there. So you see I have the same effects: the denoiser, a declicker, de-esser, a graphic equalizer, a compressor, de-reverb, and then the tools I use to, that's a slightly different tool, but it does the same thing for mastering my final file. And then the Ulean loudness meter. So you don't have to build a real-time effects rack. You can also do the same thing. What's great about Audacity is it has macros. And what I do have here is most times I will simply use a macro to finish up my project. So I have the same thing here. I have a first pass. You see I have the filter curve EQ and a denoiser. And same thing, I just cut off the highs and the lows, and then I add a little voice denoiser to get rid of any kind of background noise. I do the same thing with the second pass. I again do another denoise pass. Have the declicker, de-esser, graphic. Did I? Yes, I did that. Okay. And compressor, de-reverb. So I have the same chain I had in the effects rack, and I would just run this macro. It would do exactly the same thing as my real-time effects rack. And it just seems to be a little quicker workflow if you just record your raw audio, and then when you're done and you have it all edited and set up the way you like it and it's ready to go, you can simply run your two macros and boom, you have an ACX ready file. Very straightforward, very nice DAW. It's free. That's a plus. A lot of people say it's just a beginner's tool, but I'll tell you what, there are a lot of companies that use Audacity, sorry. There are a lot of companies that use Audacity. It is not just a kid's toy or not for professionals. There are a lot of professional narrators that like and use Audacity. There are a few publishing companies that insist their authors or their narrators use Audacity. So yeah, it's not a toy. It's an excellent DAW, and I can get the same quality of mastered file out of this as I can Adobe Audition. Okay, next up is Reaper. Okay, this is Reaper. Reaper also a fantastic DAW. Now, if you install Reaper and decide to use it, it will not look like this. I have mine all custom tweaked. I have a different theme in it. All the functions are the same. It just looks a little different. Also, a wonderful DAW to use. Very quick and efficient to edit with. And it has kind of like effects rack that Audition had. Um, Up here I have the effects rack, and you can see if I click my effects rack, I have a denoiser, and I have my EQ set, same thing, lows and highs cut off. And once I have this all edited the way I like it, I drop it into this track, and I have the effects rack here for my mastering track, which again, same plugins. I use the same plugin, same settings through all three DAWs, and that way I get the exact same mastered file out of any DAW that I would happen to use. So my denoiser, declicker, deesser, equalizer, compressor, limiter. This one has an extra little tool. I had mentioned the limiter. It lets you actually bring back up
Eyes
the level
sore
of the
from
file.
lugging suitcases.
Oh, I don't have anything in there, so I can't really show you that. But yeah, it's a handy little tool. It lets you bring the level back up. It's not necessary, but it's useful.
Words
So
alone couldn't have prepared Ashton for the
editing
job.
is about the same as it is in Audacity. If you make a mistake, oh, and you can scroll up here by taking the little hand and just scrolling through it. I love that feature about it. But if I were to find a noise, I don't have, it doesn't have macros, and so you can't just take out the noise by doing the heal or my copy paste tool I made in Audacity. So what you have to do is you have to come up here and you have to split the track and then edit out your noise that way. Or what I normally do is it also has this function called dynamic split. So what I do is I typically go in and I run this dynamic split. I split the audio files, and then I can run through the file and find where there are breaths or noises I want to take out, and then I simply delete them. It does not affect your audio.
No reason to think otherwise, said Ashton. You know, only one whack out of four makes it all the way through, ma'am.
It looks all chopped up, and really it is. But all in all, in the end, it comes out okay. Now, what I do, just an added caution, is when I'm through and I have it all edited and I have it all tweaked and ready to be mastered, I will come down here and I have made a noise floor. And I just made this noise floor. I just recorded room tone, and then I used a denoiser to knock it down to below -60, which is the ACX requirement. And then I just simply mix these two tracks together and add a noise floor back in. That just gives me a little extra security. So that's how I use Reaper. Now, Reaper is not free. It's I think it's I think it's still like $60 for personal use. If you make over 20 or $30,000 a year, I forget which, they ask you to pay $120 for it. However, you can use it as long as you want without paying anything for it. But it will, after 30 days, start nagging you to subscribe. But all in all, great dog. Now, its drawback, Very large learning curve. It takes a while to learn how to use Reaper. It is chock full of features. It has so many things you can do with it. I mean, there are so many things to learn in Reaper. But once you have all the basics down and a good workflow, you can zing through using Reaper just fine. I love all three of these DAWs. I just happens that Adobe Audition I have, and I can work the fastest in Audition. If I didn't have Audition, I would either use Reaper or Audacity. I really like both of those DAWs very much. So, okay, that's the effects and the raw file and how to edit. So let me come to the end here, and we shall look at this. This is all three files. This is all the files, this clip that I had made, mastered from each DAW. So this very first one was mastered in Adobe Audition. So here's the first mastered file from Audition.
Only a few clerks sat at the rows and rows of desks in the office since it was New Year's Eve. So, you think you've got what it takes to make it through, huh, ma'am?
So that's mastered in Audition. So now we'll mute that one, turn that one on. This is mastered in Audacity.
Only a few clerks sat at the rows and rows of desks in the office since it was New Year's Eve. So, you think you've got what it takes to make it through, huh, ma'am?
So there is Audacity. Now we'll take a look at mastered in Reaper.
Only a few clerks sat at the rows and rows of desks in the office since it was New Year's Eve. So, you think you've got what it takes to make it through, huh, ma'am?
So, if I hadn't told you which one this was mastered from, could you tell me which DAW I used to master that file? I would dare you to tell me which DAW I used to master any particular file. That's the thing. The DAW is the tool. You can get the same results from whatever DAW you want. So use the DAW that gives you the quickest, best editing features. Your main tool is your performance, and how you relay the author's material. You are the primary tool. This DAW, whichever DAW you choose, it just records your voice. Okay, so that's our quick look at DAWs. What DAW is best? Well, that's up to you. What DAW is best for you to use? I personally use Adobe Audition, but I could use any one of these DAWs. And I would be happy with the results from any one of them. So pick the one that best suits you and go make that audiobook. I'll see you in the next video. I think next time we'll probably cover plugins and how to set up your recording chain. See you next time.